Okay, that about wraps it up for the Alpamayo Circuit.
Okay, guys, so that was the Alpamayo Circuit in Huascaran National Park in Peru. I hope you guys liked the video. This next section will be going over my experience, giving some hopefully relevant, maybe potentially useful information, giving a little bit of a guide, right? I'll talk about the dog right away. He was a really sweet dog. I met him on one of the peaks and walked with him for maybe about a day and a half, the last day and a half. Fed him what little food I had, mostly chocolate, raisins, peanuts. I know dogs can't have chocolate, so I gave him some peanuts and raisins. I wasn't sure about the raisins either, but anyways, he walked with me for a bit, and he actually walked with me all the way to the small little village I finished at. So. But yeah, really sweet dog. Hopefully he's doing all right. And some of the stats for the hike, it was around 74 miles for me, or around 120 kilometers. I walked about 45 hours over about a 5.5 day period, and it was around, at least all trails said, around 20,000 calories burned, and something close to around 25,000 feet of elevation gain. So quite a bit of climbing. I think that comes out to around 7,600 or so meters. So yeah, you're going up, then you're going down. So there really wasn't too much flat on the trail. So definitely hard on the knees and hips and stuff. But as you can see from some of the pictures and video there, definitely rewarding hike. Really hard hike, but certainly rewarding. So it's good. Good hike. Day one, I took a tuk-tuk here in Huaraz to a colectivo. So the tuk-tuk was probably around maybe $1 or so, and then colectivo to get to Cachapampa is where I started the hike. That one was somewhere around 15 soles. I think I gave him a 20. He was supposed to give me change back, but he just started driving off. So it was like $5 or so to get from Caraz up to Cachapampa. That's where the hike started. And then I paid the 60 soles, or around $15, for the park entrance fee. There are many domesticated animals on the trail you'll see. So lots of sheep, cows, pigs, horses, some llamas. So that was pretty neat. And then there are also some wildlife, encounters also really on the trail. So I think one of the second to the last day was up near one of the peaks. It was pretty windy, but there was these two. I think they're called mountain caracaras, so these pretty neat birds that were flying around. One was pretty inquisitive, so he was checking me out, checking my stuff out. So that was pretty neat. So I'll play some of that video right here. So that was one of the more unique experiences for wildlife on the trail. But there's lots of birds. I remember seeing kind of a bigger black hummingbird flying around. So I caught a little bit of video of that as well. But there's really lots of different species of birds out. Saw a few lizards as well. So yeah, you'll see lots of different some wildlife while you're out there. Andean geese, I think. Yeah. Anyways, there's quite a bit. Lots of different wildflowers too. So yeah, that makes it a little nicer. Not just the mountain peaks that are incredible to see, but also some different wildflowers and animals. Okay, so this is the full trail for the Alpamayo Circuit. It starts over here at Cachapampa. First day, you're going to climb a little bit here, some elevation gain. And the first spot I stayed at was right about around mile 8, which is close to around this area, I believe. So yeah, day 1, first night I stopped at. So that was about an 8-mile day. I slept around 12,000 and a half feet or so. So that was day 1. That morning I put the drone up, got some good drone shots. Next day, hiked along and then climbed up to the south side of Alpamayo right here. And then you have this beautiful lake and some other mountain peaks right here, close to, well, in between 19,500 and close to 20,000 feet for the peaks. So that was about there. That was about maybe 7 miles to get to there. And then the rest of the time was down. And then that second night, I slept right about there, close to around 15,000 feet. So a real beautiful spot. So it's showing about 20 miles. So that was about a 12 or so mile day. So that was day 2. And I'll back out and show you the trail again here. Went down, slept there. This is Punta Union, I believe. And then so you have a bit of a climb, but that next morning wasn't much of a climb because I was right at the peak pretty much already, or the pass rather. And then I went down here, and so this whole section is part of the Santa Cruz trek as well. So you'll see more people walking this section when you do Alpamayo. I did Santa Cruz last November. I went the other direction. So some of these same miles I had already done. I never went up this point though on the Santa Cruz. So definitely worth, even if you're doing Santa Cruz, I think it's worth doing this sort of like detour off to go visit this spot. It's really beautiful. But day 3 started here, went down, down, and then pretty much you have basically a elevation change here. You have a climb. So right here, I think this is pretty much the area where you kind of get off of the Santa Cruz trek, and then you'll kind of climb this mountain here, and then down, and then around. So there was a bit of a climb here, and then some down, so basically going down to this lake area, and then you'll see a few more kind of villages, or people rather, farming and raising their animals in this area. That third night I slept maybe right around here or so, and that next day was roughly, that third day might have been around 10 miles. Slept around 12,600 feet, and then a bit of a climb. So let's see where we got here. Yeah, so we climbed here, down, and right down this area, right around here. I think that's where, yeah, right about here is where I had the warm food, and then you have this beautiful valley. This is a really beautiful spot. So that was where I had that kind of the river crossing, and so yeah, this was one of the best spots in my opinion, along the trek. And then this was a pretty intense climb here, and that next day I slept right around here on that day. So let's see if we can find it on the trail. So yeah, I slept right about there or so that night. Again, probably around a 10 mile day. And then the next day was one of the more intense. So you basically had a climb here, up close to 15,000 feet, down then another little climb down, and then a real steep climb right about there. So this was a pretty intense spot. Right about there. It's pretty windy if I remember. So I think I met the dog right around here on this hike, then down the valley, then we climbed, made it to there, and so close to 16,000 feet at that peak there. So one of the more I think one of the highest points along the trek, and then down, and that's where we slept right here for that final night. This is another really beautiful spot. This is the more of the, I guess, the north side of Alpamayo, and yeah, so that was that last campsite. So that was around right about mile 50 or so, 51, and then that final day was good amount of miles. That final day was from here all the way up, and this from here up this and then down. This is super intense. So it was a lot of climbing. You go from basically 13, you climb for what felt like 3 miles, maybe not quite, 57 to 50, yeah, close to 3 miles, and you go from 13,000 feet up to about 15,500. So that was a good climb there, and a little bit of downhill, and then another last little bit there, getting close to again 16,000 feet. So the last day was pretty intense, and then downhill from there. But even downhill, it was lots of miles. So I think that final day, I finished up in the late afternoon, evening. So I think it might have been 5 something or so by the time I reached this little spot right here. I can't quite see what it says for the village, but from there I was able to talk to some of the locals and arrange a car that final evening, really, down to Caraz, and then took a colectivo back to Huaraz. So I think I got back the final day. It was around maybe 7. Actually, it was probably later than that. Might have been an 9 o'clock or so when I reached Huaraz that final day. So a pretty intense hike, but definitely worth it in the end. For the food that I brought on trail, I bought some things here in Huaraz. So it was a lot of bananas, trail mix, chocolate, peanuts, raisins, those sorts of things, which lasted me, and some crackers too. But that lasted me for most of the trail. I say most as in, like, I pretty much had a little bit of food left at the end, but there was one spot about midway through the hike. I can't remember the name of the little area. I'll put it here, but there was a spot where I could get some warm food. So I had one warm meal of rice and some sort of potatoes and onions type of thing. So that was nice having that on the trail. But yeah, that's pretty much the food I brought. And then as far as water goes, I brought a water straw that I bought in Quito. For some reason I couldn't get it to work, so I drank pretty much, like, for 5 days I drank unfiltered water from the different rivers, streams, and lakes up there. Just trying to be mindful of the cows and horses, but yeah, thankfully no issues. It's probably obviously best to filter your water. One last thing too on the water, I lost my beef-free filter on the motorbike ride in Thailand, so when I go back to California next month, I plan on picking one of those up before doing any hiking in Europe. So yeah, I don't know what happened with the water straw. I'll try it again, but definitely the beef-free filters, I missed having one on the Alpamayo. Guys, the next hike is going to be Waiwash. I'm still here in Huaraz, so I need to figure out some things, but next week I hope to start that. The Alpamayo was around 5.5 days, 5 nights, so I'm thinking the Waiwash should be, I don't know, it might be an 8-day trek, something like that, 8, 9 days. We'll see how it goes. But anyways, looking forward to that hike. Hope you enjoyed the Alpamayo and this video. Again, always any feedback you would like to leave, I'd love to hear it. All right, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one, and take care.